So it's been gnawing at me the whole time. Like, what was going on with Egypt? Can you see where I'm getting at? There was something going on that no one talks about. You don't get this out of ministers or Gimel or any of those places you talk about. They won't talk about this.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
well,
Abraham and Abraham, they won't talk about that. They'll talk about judgments on this person. And he's going to hell, he's not damned, you know, all that nonsense. There was something
aliens,
going on.
fallen angels, mixed.
Well,
other seed.
Look. Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to throw this into the mix because obviously there were two completely different things going on. Who was the other seed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's one line of thinking, and you'll find videos on this, all right, if you look for it, that the reason Pharaoh chased Moses and the Jews, right, the reason that he chased them was because Moses took the ark. And that's why he was chasing him. That's one, I've come across that, okay? He took the ark out of the pyramid, out of the king's chamber. And that's why he was being chased. There's one line. But something mysterious that we don't understand, and I'm sick, and these gum flappers, the reason why I'm so against them is because they pretend to understand. They think they know, instead of humbly just being open to the wonder of it all. Their tiny little minds is, oh no, it's going to be
exactly. Can I give you an example? Because exactly that's what the response was, what you just said, against what you said. I watched a video that wasn't YouTube, it was a paid one that I got from my set box. 3 Grace Christians spent $1 million and went to Egypt, and they found all the recordings, number system, everything, how long it took the Israelites to get to the Red Sea, and it was recorded in 30 hours. So they took the journey for 30 hours, and they couldn't get there. It took a week because they had to go over mountains and everything. There's no way they can get up there with all their equipment, camels and things. And they went the other direction, exactly 30 hours. They arrived at the Red Sea, exactly, and the Red Sea is only up to here, up to your chest. And they said, how in the hell did Pharaoh and his army get swallowed up in the Red Sea?
Red Sea.
Reed, not the red, the reed.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? I asked my brother, who's a Grace Christian, he said, oh, they flew over the cuckoo's nest. God just lifted them up and carried them over the mountains. It doesn't say that in the Bible. Or they went through some type of wormhole to get through. How did the Pharaoh and all his men get to the other side in 30 hours? It took a week to get to the Red Sea because it's mountains, desert mountains with rocks and everything. And the other direction, straight line to the Red Sea. And that's the Pharaoh and all his Egypt. They followed them across Pharaoh. Yeah. So that's a clanger.
Yeah, the thing is full of clangers. And this is, go on.
And the Sodom and Gomorrah was a meteorite that hit it. They went under the ground. They found all this meteorite. It had been hit at that exact time and right on the city and wiped out Sodom and Gomorrah. God didn't snap his fingers and just make it happen. It was a meteorite heading towards the earth at the exact time.
Oh, yeah. Well, it would have been something like that.
Or a volcano.
They found all the sulphur.
That's
right?
it.
Those little balls of sulphur.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a common fucking... That's the only place in the world where they'll find that.
Yeah.
The little balls of sulphur
That's
bedded in the rocks. The only place in the world. It just happened right there and then on those cities on the...
But these grace Christians are saying that God's like a superhero. He didn't create matter. He organised it, moved it around. And he didn't just snap his fingers. It was all part of...
That's right. These people that think they know and they talk, that's why I can't bear to talk to them, because I know they don't know.
Yeah.
Look at this world.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. They've missed.
So what's your answer to how did they get to the Red Sea, if it was the Red Sea, when all those mountains took a week to go over?
Well, okay, I've seen
what would you say?
There's a path. It's called a Wadi Duddy or something like that, through the mountains.
A little narrow path.
Yeah.
And they went through.
Yeah. It winds through the mountains.
But they couldn't find that.
About 40 miles. Ron Wyatt found it. I've seen it several times, the path that they took through the mountains. It's like,
really?
a few 100 metres wide sort of thing, and it's a sandy thing, and it goes right through to and it shows where they come out and a big open area for the sea where they could have easily taken 1 million people.
But in 30 hours?
Yeah, well, it was,
Straight through they knew exactly that one particular path, a very narrow...
There's a path right through the mountains.
It doesn't say that in the Bible.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Well, actually, it does. It says that, but...
Thank you. That's good.
I've seen it several times where that's been explained out. This is the way they came, and Ron Wyatt explained it, and other people explained it. This is the track they came through, and you could see it. Okay, and then the beach where they open up and there's the sea, and Ron Wyatt said, and on the other side they found the pillars, and he found the chariot wheels.
That's
where
right.
He found the chariot
you told me
wheels
that.
right there.
And that sea was 30 miles across, so God parted 30 miles of sea? Wow.
I was just watching one on that, like just the other day, and some bloke was saying, well, why didn't he do it just to the left where there was some reef? And it would have been a lot easier, and the water was shallower and everything. Why didn't he do that? And then the bloke said, well, he opened up the Bible and explained it where it says, and I will take them through the depths. And he said, well, that's why I didn't take them through the shallows, because he says, I'll take them through the depths. Okay. That's why he took them through the deep part, because he said he was going to take them through the deep part. That's why he said
they knew exactly where it was.
And he said, that's why I'm taking them through the depths. So he took them to the deep part, and that's why they went down. That's where the chariot wheels were, right there. So, and on the other side is where the pillars are. That
the pillars.
Put up. Yeah. Moses put up.
Yeah.
Right? And they found them.
They couldn't find the path, so they must have covered it up. They couldn't find that narrow path through the mountains to get to the Red Sea.
They didn't want to, like, obviously...
They didn't know where it was. No.
It's called Willy Dadidi or something like that.
My friend Andrew was right.
It's right through the mountains. Yeah. And it's just wide enough to take all those people.
Right. And that's a good answer. But flying over the mountain, that's ridiculous. All got lifted up and flown over. But how did that means Pharaoh and all his army got lifted up and flown over the mountain?
See,
stupid answer.
I'm over I'm even just giving a moment's thought to why they would think that. You know what I mean? Their minds are just so small. That's why I like talking to you, because your mind is open to the wonders, and you're open to
that's a compliment.
New information.
Yeah.
Because every moment is new information, but these gum flappers, they've got this little bit from the past that they think they know about, and that's pushing that, and it's like, shut the fuck up. There's an amazing, wondrous reality, spiritual, supernatural reality in front of us, full of miracles and everything, and you want to be like little children, and you just, you walking into heaven, we're going, no, this didn't say that, and this didn't mean this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, go away.
Yeah.
Leave me. And so at least we can have conversation. So, there's always been something, there was something going on with Egypt.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
Now, it represented something that was not kosher. Right?
What's kosher?
Oh, like approved.
Approved, okay.
That's no good. Even though it was fantastic, and God must have made the Egyptians too, they're people, right? And they must have been descended from Noah, must have been, but they could have come from Ham. Maybe they were Ham's children, which was why, but see, the whole flood chronology doesn't fucking fit that, right? Doesn't fit Egypt already being there and had been there. By the time Abraham came along, it wasn't supposed to be not that far from Noah. It doesn't fit, but so you see, this is the thing that they, it's the elephant in the room, because when you look at what they were doing and what they'd done in Egypt in the Old Kingdom, all right, it was kind of like fantastic. Now, but weren't they human beings, and couldn't God make all people, and wasn't he inspiring people? So why would he have inspired them to do all that and then all of a sudden say, no, that's all bad. Let's do something completely different over this side, and build me a little box, and I'm just going to live in there, and I'm going to have a small group of people, and we're going to wander through the desert, and I want nothing to do with all of those temples and monuments and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? There's something that we're missing in that something, right? Now, so we're going to fast forward, because so we know what happened. Pharaoh was kind of out of business. We know that happened. Now, because Egypt had its Akhenaten moment, where he was the one that changed everything, changed it from having all these different gods to having one God. That's why people think he might have been the Pharaoh from Moses, because it was right about that time, roughly, right? Roughly. So people think that maybe because of what happened, that's what caused him to start to change things, and to start, because he built a new city, new capital city, to worship this one God.
What was the name of that city? Doesn't matter.
Well, okay. What was it? It was a. I'm trying to think. Because they had two capitals, one in the north, one in the south, one at Memphis, and one at Thebes. Right?
Okay.
Now, because there'd always been Upper and Lower Egypt, and that's why Egypt had two crowns. The Pharaoh had two crowns representing Upper and Lower Egypt. So they had two capitals, Memphis and Thebes. But Akhenaten built a new one. I forget what it was called. I forget at the moment. But he built a new capital to worship this one God. But after he died, they went back to the old ones. Okay. It was just him. So that's why some people think that he might have been the Moses Pharaoh because of what happened, and he got
the last
such a shake-up with all that going on. He couldn't deny that there was this one God out there that could do all this stuff and defeat all his temple gods.
This is long after the sea swallowed up the other Pharaoh's army.
This is what?
This is long after the Pharaoh his army got swallowed up by Moses.
No, I'm saying perhaps Akhenaten was that Pharaoh.
Oh.
And that's what caused him to change everything because of all that happened. He couldn't deny that there was this one God that had come and defeated all of his temple gods and done all that and caused all those plagues and everything. So he had to admit that there was a greater God than Osiris and everything like Horus and that. He had to admit that because of what he'd just seen.
Oh, I see.
So that's when he thought, okay, well, we better worship that God then.
So from Moses to Abraham, because Abraham came after Moses, right?
No, Abraham was way before Moses.
Before Moses. So you're talking Moses' time. That Pharaoh.
Yeah, because that's around about the time that happened. Because Akhenaten's son was Tutankhamun, all right?
Oh, yes.
So it was end of the Middle Kingdom, right? It was around about that time.
Right.
All right?
Was that Ramsey?
Hey?
Ramsey, the Pharaoh Ramsey? There was a Pharaoh called...
Ramesses was before that.
Before that.
Ramesses was in one of the building pharaohs.
Okay.
Okay, but by the time Abraham came along, that was all finished. All that building in Egypt was all done. But long gone.
The pyramids, everything.
All those big temples, Valley of the Kings,
wow.
all that was all finished. It was all done in the past. 2,000 years before Abraham. Right?
Good.
This is the thing, 3,000 years before Abraham. That stuff was all being done. And it was like, so God says, okay, well, but weren't the Egyptians, didn't he make the Egyptians, and so what were they trying to do? And who were they if God came along and said, no, that's no good. Do a new thing. Make me a little box, not a big temple. Right? I'm going to sit in a little box. There's something weird that we don't understand happen. Something big.
Well,
people, you can't talk to people about it because they don't... They can't talk about this stuff. They just want to talk about who's saved and who's not.
This Egyptoloogist who was worked for the Mormon Church, who denied the church, he's now become an atheist, God forbid. But he's making videos. He's most hated in the world. His name is Travis Wayne Goodsell. The people are out to get him and everything, even hitmen and everything, in the church, whatever. But anyway, he said that this whole learning of the Jews is prophecy in the Bible. It's in the Book of Mormon, it's in the Torah, it's not in the Quran. And these books prophesy the God of Cyrus when Jesus said, ye gods take a rest on the Sabbath, it says in the Bible somewhere. And he wasn't talking about stone or metal gods, he's talking about the fallen angels, the whole seed, the other seed, chastising that they were fallen. And anyway, and the whole Cyrus system is where the devil and his angels live, and the prince of the air. I think you've mentioned a bit about Cyrus, but he said that the whole Bible came through the fallen angels and that there's no truth in it. It's all...
See, here's another fucking gum flapper. Right?
Yep.
What you and I talk about are...
Yeah. He denies Jesus Christ even existed. Emmanuel means sun God. That the word Emmanuel should never be given to Jesus or Yeshua. It means sun God.
It'd be great to have a conversation with bunch of people like you and me who don't think we know something, you know what I mean? I'm sick of them.
Yeah.
They know nothing. If they know something, where are they? Why aren't they fixing things? You know? It's because they
at least admitting
know
it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Right? They know shit.
They may not be able to fix it, but at least admit it. Yeah. Needs fixing.
Something that, see, there are clues in history,
footprints,
clues, right? And this is what I do. I look for the clues, like the footprints.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The red letters?
I'm trying to work them out. Eh?
The red letters?
Yeah, but the clues, like
Yeah.
things that point to things and
Yeah.
but not pretending that yes, well, this means that and this is you know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah, okay if I have this here.
Yeah, sure, mate.
You know,
No, yeah, that's very interesting. Gee, mate, you've got quite a knowledge on this.
So there are mysteries.
Yeah.
That
Mysteries. And Isaiah
the
spoke
Christians don't
of mysteries.
talk about because they learn to believe a certain story and it's very strict and it's very exact and it's very literal.
Yep.
And that's it, and that's the story, and and they're candlestick people, and good on them, right?
Yep.
And they're going to be raptured, and I'm not. Well, I'm okay with that, right?
Yeah, okay.
Because
Yep.
hopefully I'll get to rule during the 1,000
Oh, by the
years.
way, they go by the Revelations version. Don't worry about any other version. The Revelation version is the most correct.
Is the what?
The Revelation version, the rapture, is the most correct. You don't have to worry about the other versions, they said. The Revelation version. Revelations. Book of Revelations. About the rapture.
Well, I'm talking about the rapture.
Yeah. The Revelation. What does the Revelations version say about rapture?
Well, as far as the rapture goes, they always using Mark and Thessalonians, and it's like they don't often use Revelations too.
Yep. They reckon the eyewitnesses and the contradictions are not as trustworthy, but the Revelations is exact. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what I keep saying to you, because then he says after the tribulation, this is the first resurrection.
That's in Revelations, is it?
Yeah, that's in Revelations at the end of it, in John 20. So, and there's the thing about, the saints getting beheaded during the tribulations. But,
yeah, you answered that very well in the other. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and those of us who were left alive, well, before the tribulations, we're all still alive. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But those who are left alive tends to imply that there's been an event where a whole lot of people have been killed and there's a few left alive. Isn't that what those who were left alive means? Right? But before the tribulations, we're all still alive. But so during the tribulation, a whole lot of us get killed, and at the end, there's a few of us of those who are alive. You know what I mean? It's like they don't like to bring that bit into it. I don't hear them mentioning that. Yeah. Those of us who are still alive. Yeah. When they do mention that, they just glide straight over it, right? But that's like a bit of a clue. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those of us who are left alive. Because it says that 2/3 of the world are going to be killed during the tribulation.
2/3, yeah.
And then at the end there's going to be a few left alive. And then John says, and this is the first resurrection. And we know that they're all people, saints are beheaded during the tribulations. Mm-hmm. But they keep pushing this thing about, but there's going to be a rapture. Well, it's like, if there is, maybe it's like what we're talking about. The candlestick people get off because they haven't got...
Yeah, they say the church will be raptured.
Well, if it's the candlestick people getting raptured, it's because they couldn't bear, and they don't, and they're too pure. You know what I mean? They couldn't deal with it. They'd crumble. They would probably fail. Oh. And that's why he's getting them out. Oh. Because he knows that only the strong ones.
I see.
Right? Yeah. And that's why he leaves them here, because he knows that they're actually going to push in. Yeah. He knows that, but they would miss out maybe.
Well, that's mercy.
So he's just having mercy on them, right? Because he knows they wouldn't deal. Some of them wouldn't make it. I gotcha. They'd end up taking the mark. Yeah, maybe that's it, because he knows that some of them would take the mark because they just, they would, because they're just wouldn't be. They'd be overwhelmed with darkness, and they just wouldn't be able to deal with it. And so he makes sure he protects them and gets them out.
Wow. Gee, that's an interesting.
But filthy rags like you and me, he can. Then we get a chance to get some honour because we don't. Because we didn't get raptured, but maybe that's how it's going to work. That's our chance to. Like even the books.
Yeah. So who are those who get the books of life?
What?
Those who are saved, they don't get the books, right? That's what I was taught in Bible study.
It's like, the ones that get raptured.
Oh, they don't get the books.
They don't get the books.
Oh, but everyone else.
Sent to heaven and paradise, and but they're complaining, saying, "No, but we want to be on the world doing stuff."
Oh, that's a good answer.
No, you're safe here. You're not getting many judgment. There's nothing for you. Just stop complaining. Just be happy for them that they made it. You know what I mean? That could be what they're complaining about. Oh. All right? That could be it. Yeah.
Okay, good answer.
Yeah, stop complaining. Just be happy for them. All right? And so the 144,000, they don't get the books.
No.
All right?
Yeah.
They obviously don't get the books.
Yeah, and the 2 witnesses and all that.
Right.
Yeah, right. Wow. But those who get the books, can you get out of jail free? Well, you can get out of that purgatory, Hades they call it. All those who get the books will be in Hades. Is that correct?
All the what? It would be people like Hitler. God would be looking for, any part of one moment anywhere in his life, where he had any virtue.
Yeah.
Was there any situation anywhere in his life where he showed any virtue?
Yeah.
He'd be looking for that in the books.
Or a rich man helped the poor.
Yeah. So he'd be looking for any time where he helped somebody or had a compassionate thought, because that would be like times when he opened himself up to God, because that's really what's going on, is love and compassion, right?
Yeah.
It's everywhere around us, but we closed off from it. But people open themselves up to it, and then we can...
So I see. So if we're martyrs during that time, guillotine, whatever, we don't get the books then?
No, they get to rule for 1,000 years.
But what happens if you die before that? You get the books. If you die before the...
and you're not a candlestick person.
Yeah. What happens to those?
Books.
Oh, then you do get the books.
Yeah.
And then you can be judged and still be saved.
Yeah, because you'll be looking for something.
See.
So that's why we have to make sure that we show love.
See,
and forgive everybody.
Yeah.
We got to forgive everyone, mate.
Yeah.
Everyone, because he's going to look in there and say, "Did you forgive everyone?"
See, they're teaching at Bible study that all those that get the books are not saved. All the ones that get saved will not go get the books. And so if you're not taken up...
Many will say, "Lord, we did mighty miracles in your name." All right? So they thought they were saved and they believed. Right?
Yeah.
But obviously it's not going real well for them. Okay? Obviously the books are coming for them. Alright?
I get it. Yeah.
So in other words, I didn't have a relationship with you. So let's have a look in the books and see if there's any saving grace in there at all.
Yeah, amen.
Let's have a look.
Yep.
Because at the moment, you're not coming in. I never knew you. Okay?
Yeah.
You never knew me and I never knew you.
Okay.
So let's have a look in the books. That's what it would be.
What do you think about your dad? He was a believer, but he used to drink a lot, but he was a believer.
Yeah, so
my dad wasn't.
That's the case for the books, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, he's going to get in, right? Because I know his lifestyle and I know he had those moments.
Yeah.
Okay, where he did allow the virtue to flow. I can see that. And my mum and the people.
Oh, sure, your mum. Okay? And what about my dad?
Yeah, well, see, that's what the books would be all about. He might have had moments that you weren't aware of, but inside him, and he never told anybody. But maybe he had moments where he allowed it to flow.
Remember, my godmother was a Grace Christian. I tried to convert her to Mormonism, and my dad said to me, if there's any saint and I don't believe in saints. She says, Your Auntie Esther is the most non-judgmental, and she's the Salvation Army. Go to the front line of the war and get tea and coffee to the cake to the soldiers, get blown up.
Yeah.
You know, those are the ones in the trenches. And he said, if there's any truth, he said, Your Auntie Esther's on the right track.
That's what I mean. So in other words, there was a resonance. He felt a resonance to that whole concept. So maybe there is. So that's what I mean. So we look through the books saying, okay, well, you know, and
there you go.
Did he show? Were there any moments in his life where he showed virtue? You know what I mean? Yeah. Because faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
There had to have been some works. So that's what the books will be all about, looking for some works.
Yeah, we made them guide
because
parents.
Because the people with plenty of faith, we did mighty miracles. They had plenty of faith. I didn't know you. There were no works of virtue. Right? That's what he'll be after.
I see.
Because he desires all men be saved. Right? So he's going to be looking for anything. You with me?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. What's going to happen is Reiner? Is it Reiner Genehart?
How's that?
Reiner Genehart?
Gina Reinhardt.
Gina Reinhardt. Got it back to the front. Man,
same deal. Same thing. He's going to be looking for, were there any moments when they opened their heart up?
Okay.
Right? Because if there were, well, that's what he'd be looking for, right?
Yeah.
Because he knows that the rest of the time was Sludge Boy attacking them, right?
Yeah.
But if there were no moments at all, anywhere in their life, where they opened up to virtue, well, I mean, they never wanted to. They were never his. They never wanted to know about it. There was Sludge Boy all the way.
Could you give me one example? Somebody in the world that are like that?
It's probably a lot of people.
Stalin, the Russian guy, signed off 6,000 deaths in one day.
Look,
for execution.
We're going to be surprised.
Yeah.
You know? Like, for instance, Mother Teresa might be one of those.
Yeah. Even though
who
she was
never opened up to virtue.
Oh, really?
You know, I mean,
but she was against some of the things in the Catholic Church.
It could be like that, you know, because the world loved Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Could turn out that she would be like, God mightn't be able to find anything in the books where she actually opened up to them. There's an example.
Though she did a lot of charity.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So we did mighty works.
She was angry with God.
We did miracles.
Oh,
I never knew.
Geez.
So we're going to be surprised. See, all those people, they expected to go. The 5 brides, they expected to go.
Yeah.
But they didn't have oil in their lamps. What's the oil? That's no virtue. They didn't have the virtue. You know what I mean? But they're all dressed up, ready to go to the ceremony.
That's right. Remember that? I remember that. Yeah.
They were all dressed up. We did these miracles. Oh, you're not coming in. Right? Oh. Why not? They looked good. They had all the right clothes on.
Sounds like a lot of Mormons on a...
Yeah, they had the trappings.
Yeah.
The miracles even. Okay?
Yeah.
They had all that and the belief, right? The razzmatazz, the world adulation.
Temples.
Oh, yes, they'll be going. No. So why? What did they lack? What were they lacking? It wasn't works. It wasn't faith.
Wow.
Right? We had the faith to do miracles. They had plenty of faith. They had all the works.
Yeah.
What were they lacking?
Personal relationship with Jesus.
That's it. I never knew.
Yeah. They had a personal relationship with prophets and popes and all that.
See, okay, look at it like this. We'll get back to the Egypt thing in a minute.
Yep.
Just imagine that that God, the real God, that his universe is supposed to be full of virtue, but Sludge Boy has covered it all up. All right? Just imagine the show. Just imagine the universe full of virtue and Sludge Boy has just poured ink into it.
Yep.
And it's all gone dark. All right?
Yep.
So in other words, the universe, the virtue is in there in the universe, but you can't see it. It's all been covered up. All right? Just one way of looking at it. All right?
Wow.
Now, but the children, all right, well, people, human beings, all right, they have something within them, all right, that they can access that hidden virtue.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Something, but they have to. It's not like it's not that easy because we can't. Oh, wait till you finish that.
Yep. Yep. Go on. Yep.
It's not that easy because we can't see it. Right? It's been hidden. But there's something within us. God's put something within us that allows us to access it. And that's why we have acts of virtue in the world from certain people, acts of love and mercy and kindness, all right? And the only reason is because that field of love and mercy is there. Now, if the poison was taken away, well then everyone on the planet would be showing love and mercy and kind of would just be like light everywhere, okay?
Yeah.
And there'd be acts of mercy and love everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. It could be, but it's not, because the virtue is there, but it's covered up. But the people have within them the ability to reveal little bits of it. So we have things like love and forgiveness and charity and mercy and good deeds and in the world. Okay, you see that in people, in little bits,
Yeah.
little acts, little bits of work. So because it's allowing something, a mechanism within us that can access it.
Yeah.
See, it's not, good works is not in us automatically and naturally and inherently. We're not born, we're a sack of meat and bones that has no mind of its own, no life of its own. Okay, it's a sack of meat and bones. So, but it comes out of the mother's womb immersed in the field of virtue and love and mercy that is covered up. So when it's born, it doesn't immediately come into a world where that is revealed. It comes into a world where that's hidden. All right?
Yep.
But we can access it. All right? And so we have acts of kindness and love and mercy and forgiveness, all the values, the virtues that are written down, okay, in Corinthians, right? Because if you haven't got those, the rest of it's just tinkling cymbals. So they are there, but they're not any one person's kind of bag. It's what what everyone on the planet should be doing, is showing love, mercy, kindness, forgiveness to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the world then, but that's not happening. But it could be, because if one person can do it, they can all do it. But anyway, what I'm trying to make is, I imagine that, just to make this, simplify this whole thing, I imagine that the books are all about going to be looking, was there any were there any moments in that person's life where he accessed virtue, where he activated that little mechanism that is in everybody, all right? Anyone who's born is born with a mechanism to activate it. But then, but see, this is where like the whole other seed thing comes in, and but see, maybe this is it. This is what could make it fair, because even the other seed are born with the mechanism, but for all the reasons why they choose to never activate it.
Yeah.
Never once in their life they find that little place within them where they seek virtue.
Yeah.
They
seek power and authority and position.
But
and
they
get
don't
it.
activate that. There's no moment of works. See, the faith is not enough. Faith without works is dead. Lord, we did miracles, okay? The faith is not enough, right? That's made clear, all right?
Yeah.
We did mighty miracles, did healing, rose the dead. Okay, plenty of faith to do that. Okay, it takes a lot of faith to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, raise the dead and do miracles and everything. That's not enough, obviously, right? Not enough. And then faith without works is dead. So there's got to be some works. Has to be some works, because if there's no works, it's dead. All right? That's made quite clear.
Yeah.
Faith without works is dead. And, Lord, we did mighty miracles. So plenty of faith. The faith and the belief. So what? The devils believe. They're not going to save them.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So belief means nothing.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
Faith is not enough.
Yep.
There's got to be works. Now, the only way there can be any works at all is if someone activated that virtue. Otherwise, it would be impossible for someone to do any good works, because it's not in us to do that naturally, normally, because that's all hidden, right? We see the darkness, we don't see the light. We know that we're working with darkness.
Yeah.
It's okay, well, we're working with darkness when we get born, right? We're born in a fallen world, yeah, okay, and this is what we do shit, right? That's how we live, okay? And we accept wars and ghettos and sufferings and people starving and, oh yeah, well, that's you know, it's fallen world, right? So that's what we live with. We know that. We don't see the light, okay? But you've got to want it.
Yeah, desire.
You've got to want it.
Yeah.
And the only way it's possible to have a good thought is to activate that field of good thought that is hidden, right? Because most people, their thoughts are not good. And it says, well, I have the world of wars and ghettos and people dying over there. That's all coming out of people's thoughts. Those wars and those ghettos aren't just occurring naturally. It's people organising that. You know what I mean? People in, you know, nice clothes and everything are actually looking at figures and numbers, and
politicians.
They know about those ghettos and the wars and the, you know, these people starving to death over there. It's just business to them. Okay, just business. Right? So they aren't activating any of the virtue, right? But some of them are very respectable people and even got enough faith to do miracles, right? But not activating any of the virtue that, okay, now how can I help this person, right? Because that's in the universe, it's just covered up, right? But it's within us. So that would be fair. So God will be able to say to them, look, you always had the chance to show some virtue, always. The mechanism within you, and they'll understand, but they never chose to use it to activate it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you might just be looking for one moment from people, you know? One moment in their life where they broke down.
Because Jesus said, I desire not one be lost, all be saved.
He's for the children. Yeah. But see, we have to, thing is, we've got to, this is why it's hard to talk to the other Christians, because the tooth seed thing comes into it and they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? But it's there right at the start, okay? So you could only imagine that one way you could look at it.
Yeah.
The candlestick people, the ones that they're the children, 100% going home. The ones that he doesn't lose one of. Okay?
Yeah.
Doesn't lose one of. And obviously the 144,000, right?
Yep.
They're going home, right? He's not going to lose them. He's not going to lose the children, all right? And everyone else, so he's going to be looking to see who activated love. You know? And he was there, was there one moment. You see how that could, it could play out like that? Just looking for 1 5-second period in their life where they went looking for virtue. Where they broke down, in other words, they had enough desire to know God, even for a short, brief time. They had enough desire to push back the poison, that sludge boy had poisoned the light with, had enough desire just to push that back for 5 seconds.
So you're talking about people who believe in Christ but not showed any virtue? What about people who
All
don't?
the people, yeah.
You mean Buddhists as well? Everyone?
The people that believe in Jesus, they're going to have plenty of moments
the people
where they believe. But the other ones, I think you're going to be looking for just one moment.
For even the non-Christian type.
Yeah, just looking for one moment in their life where they activated virtue. Because we should all be living in virtue. Right now, at this moment, everyone in the world should be loving and in mercy and forgiving and how can I help you? But outside there, mate, there are all these people that don't know anything about that.
So what does it mean?
How do you explain that?
What does it mean then, except you born again of the Spirit, come unto Christ, you're not saved? So what happens to these people that didn't come unto Christ, but they had these virtues?
Well, I imagine that's what the books are all about.
Where do they get sent to? A lesser heaven? Where do they end up?
Well, remember we've talked about this?
Yeah. I believe there's levels, but not the levels of Mormons becoming friggin' gods.
No, there's a holding area, obviously, okay? And Sludge Boy's got control of that, which is why God had to come and get Moses' body, which is why that story is in there and why he didn't let Enoch die. Yeah. And why he didn't let Elijah die, right? Because he knew that, because everyone goes somewhere that Sludge Boy is in control of, everybody. And if God wants someone particular, he has to come and get him. Through all that.
Through all of that.
Jesus had to go down and get them out of there. Okay. Right? Yeah. Because Sludge Boy's got all the spirits. He's got the whole universe, got the creation. He's taken it. You know what I mean? In one way of looking at it, right? Yeah,
I get you.
And if God wants someone in particular, he's got to come in special and get him.
And he gave us an accident, near-death experience.
Yeah, but, so we didn't die.
No.
Right? No. Because once we're dead, Sludge Boy's got us. Everybody.
Oh, but if you had died when you were young, wouldn't you have gone straight back to heaven then?
Obviously not.
None of us?
No, obviously not. That's what it's there, because if heaven wants you, it has to come and get you.
I thought
you with me? Well, that's what it's all about. That's why this is the bones, the marrow. You can't talk about it, but look at the clues.
They say you wake up in heaven or hell.
Yeah. Look at the clues, the astral planes. Right? The archons. It's all Sludge Boy.
All Sludge 12 Boy. Dimensions. Yeah. Wow.
I smelt that when I went to the Gnostic church.
Yeah.
You know, when they talk about astral planes, I said, well, Jesus is the head of all this thing, isn't it? And they looked at me as if to say, Jesus? Oh, yeah, Jesus. Oh, yeah, he's one of the teachers.
One of the teachers.
And I smell what's going on here, you know. So, so...
Well, don't claim to be Gnostic. You are Christian. You just, you're not a candlestick person. That's all it means. Just means you got to go through it, whatever it
The
is.
Gnostics go to the astral planes like the Buddhists do.
Well, that's not biblical.
But look, mate, this is where I was going to see. There's something's wrong with it all.
Yeah.
Something wrong with all of it, right? And that's why it's just so ridiculous now. I can't even bear the thought of spending just time trying to talk to someone who thinks they know what's going on.
I see your point.
You know, like, oh shit, oh, you know that, do you? Oh, that's right, that's how it was, is it? Oh, okay.
Well, remember that brother said you're not saved because you're having a smoke or something? You would have been one to crucify Jesus?
That's what I mean. There's
over a
always
smoke?
small-minded people that kind of like, it's like, so there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to work out what it is, and see, and the big players in it are the Egyptians.
Yeah. The Romans?
The Egyptians. The Hebrews. The Pope. The Templars.
Oh, yeah.
And the Cathars. In other words, the Gnostics. Right? They're the big players in all this.
I see.
Right? Because our reality and everything morphed out of the influences of those groups, right? And it's been a shuffling, and now what we've got today is a shuffling of the data and information concerning those particular groups, right? And it's some kind of mix. It's either some kind of mix of all of that, or it's something completely different that no one has ever thought of. Either that, or it's a mix of all of that, right?
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to have that on the table and be looking at it with childlike eyes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay?
Yeah.
We've got the Egyptians.
Yeah, the history.
We've got the Hebrews. We've got the Pope. We've got the Templars.
Which is the Freemason.
We've got the Cathars.
What's the Cathars?
The Gnostics.
The Gnostics, that's
right?
It. What about the Sumerian lost texts that spoke about the Nephilim? The original Sumerian texts that talked about the fallen angels and the Nephilim. The first Adam, they spoke about it. About the fallen. But that's going back way back.
Well, see,
yeah,
all of those stories
put a spin on it.
I suppose you could, okay, you have to put the Sumerians in there as well. Okay, so, all right. Yeah. So that was a bit of an oversight. So that's another group, isn't it? So you got the Sumerians.
That's it.
You got the Egyptians. You got the Hebrews. You got the Pope. You got the Templars, and you got the Cathars. And out of all of that,
wow.
The stories came out of little bits. The stories that we have today, what we're confronted with, the information that we've got to deal with, came out of little bits of those groups. Either that, or it's something completely different, right? Completely different. Failing that, it's an amalgam of all of that. And like I said, and it's wonderful to be looking at that with childlike eyes, you know, It's amazing, and it's like, oh, it's like almost like, feel like I'm opening a present or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it feels fresh and new, and I'm not chained to any old thought of people who knew nothing. It was just being stroked by the ego, and they're probably damned. They probably didn't have one moment of virtue anywhere in their life, and they're trying to tell me what's going on. Go away.
So you can say all the secret society, secret handshake religions, especially Mormonism, is coming out of the Templar, because that's all to do with the secret society.
I've just seen it. Why? One of the reasons I'm going off on this is because I've just seen this really big video. Someone did a lot of research. Okay, there's some good stuff on the internet. Okay, a lot of people have got good, being motivated to put out. There is real stuff going on. Okay, but you've got to find the stuff that resonates. All right. So this resonated. So I listened to it all. It's really good stuff. It's all about this.
Send it to me.
And it's helped me put a lot of things together, and to help me to stack things on the table, clear things away, so I can have a look at it a bit clearer, right? Because that's all any of us have got. We see through the glass darkly, all of us, right? That's what that was all about, okay? No one gets to see the light just because it's concealed. That fits in perfectly with what we see through the glass darkly. That fits in perfectly with what I just said about, the light being poisoned, and that it's not easy to be seen.
Well, what's the scripture that says there will be a sealed portion that will be delivered at a later day? Mormons think it's the Book of Mormon. What do you believe about that sealed portion? It says in the Bible there will be a sealed book that will be delivered in the later day. A sealed book, it says it in the Bible. What is that sealed book?
Now, the only reference to anything like that is where he says, seal up the book, Daniel, until the time of the end. Okay?
It doesn't say anything about a sealed book?
No, it just says the books, that vision that was revealed to Daniel.
Yeah.
He said, seal up the book until the time of the end, and then it will be revealed.
Okay, and Isaiah.
So that's something was sealed up.
Sealed up, and it says in Isaiah chapter 29 there will be a book crying from the dust, a sealed book.
Well, see, this could be in the Ark of the Covenant. I just watched another video of Ron Wyatt the other night, one that I hadn't seen before. He was giving a lecture in a church somewhere.
Yep.
Okay. He was a little bit evasive about the video that he left in there. I was a bit worried about that. He kind of people kept trying to ask him about the video that he made, because he said he made a video while he was in there of the ark and of the furniture and everything, and the angel told him to leave that in there in the cave, leave that video in there in the cave, all right, and that that video was going to be used when it was time for the ark to be revealed, right? So there's a couple of people trying to ask him about that video, but he kept being evasive. He wouldn't answer that clearly. He wouldn't say, yes, there's a video that's in the cave and the angels told me to leave it there. He didn't. He kept saying, well, it's nothing's meant to be revealed yet, okay? I can't talk about that. I can't talk about that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, he came out alive, and those slaves that went in there got all zapped. Maybe he was scared.
Yeah, well, see, I've got no reason to doubt this bloke, okay? He was he's probably the most sincere person I've ever heard speak.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
Got no reason, but he was just a little bit evasive about this video that was left in there. But I have to believe, and this is where belief can be used, right? I have to believe that he's telling the truth, right? And a lot of people are convinced too. I've seen enough of his videos, and like we said, we even saw Jesus in the water.
I know, no one else saw it.
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that weird?
So I have to believe that he's telling the truth.
Mm.
This is one use for belief.
Yeah.
Because if it was all bullshit, for him to just continually, emotively just keep just describing all that and everything exactly the same, and for it to all been bullshit.
Yeah.
Because every time I hear him talk from this place and that place, nothing's changed, except this time he's evasive about the video. But apart from that, it's always exactly the same. The story is exactly the same. Every point, every bit, right? So, and I must have heard him at least a dozen times tell the story of how he found it and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Red Sea and the Sodom and Gomorrah and everything, right? But, and Noah's Ark, they're swarming all over that.
Yeah.
Today, as we speak, they're still there. So there's something going on there. Right? Even though he's been dead for 10 years now, or something, 5 years. But we have to believe that it's there. Because he was so sincere. And they talked again about those 6 that died. And he had to go in and get them.
They were what were they? They were workers, slaves or something. They went in there.
No, they were Israelis who went to try and thought, well, let's go and get it then.
Yeah.
And they were, that's right, they were kind of like connected with the temple. And they had robes on.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah, they had robes on. Right? And the bloke that told the story he actually was talking to Ron Wyatt. He was sitting down with Ron Wyatt, talking about the 6 men. Right? So it wasn't Ron Wyatt telling us, it was him saying, and I was speaking to Ron Wyatt, we were talking about the 6 men that he had to go and get, and how did you know about that? And he asked him, and that wasn't supposed to be talked about, and he wanted to know how he knew about that. And so it really happened. Yeah. Right? The thing about Noah's wife is a real freak out that she could still be there. I mean, Noah's wife. Anyway.
Yeah.
But something happened there. It's like, because you know that story, don't you?
They found grave sites or something. Is that the one?
He found Noah and his wife's grave, right?
Yeah.
And Noah's house. It's not there now. It's all gone now. But, so I suppose this would have been about 40 years ago, maybe 50 years ago. Yeah, 50, say 40 years ago. Say 40 years ago. So, for thousands and thousands of years, up until about 40 years ago, that whole area was untouched. No one had, and anyone who had been past that area, and there were people living there in the region.
Yep.
But no one had touched any of that region, not moved a stone for thousands and thousands of years. This is right, and then he comes along and he finds Noah's grave and his wife's grave.
This is Ron White?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
He's the first one, but before him, for thousands and thousands of years, that area hadn't been touched by anybody. I mean, even though there were people living in the little towns and that, and the whole region was called the Village of the 8 people out of the Ark. That's what the locals knew in it, that area.
May I ask
the area of the 8?
What country was this?
In Turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah, the bottom of Mount Ararat, where it's all supposed to happen.
Yeah, and the Ark...
in the mountains of Ararat, right there.
Yeah.
Right where
Noah's Ark.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So,
wow.
Right down where the Ark is, and then at the bottom of the Ark, he finds Noah's grave and his wife's grave and Noah's house and the altar that Noah built, right?
Yeah.
And he made videos of it and wrote the book and I saw all that, okay? I remember seeing that in the early days. Now, but for thousands of years, it had been untouched. Anyway, so he finds it. So what he used to do to get money, he would go back to America. He would kind of like make these discoveries. He'd go back to America, and then he would organise tours, and he would get all these people together and say, I'm going to take you to Israel, and I'm going to show you these biblical sites. And they all had to pay, okay, the way and everything. And that was one of the ways
witnesses
he was making money, right? He was organising these tours, but it was, he wanted to show them these things. So he did quite a few of these, all right? And he always ended up running out of money in the end, on his next discovery sort of thing. But he did that for a few years. You have these tours.
Yep.
Take all these people to the Red Sea and everything and say, this is Sodom and Gomorrah, So he organised these. He went back to America. He found Noah and his wife's grave.
In what country?
He found Noah's grave.
Yeah, in Turkey.
In Turkey, at the bottom of Mount Ararat.
I thought he said America.
No, yeah. After he found them, he went back to America.
Oh, that's where he's from. Yeah.
Okay, he went back to America, and he organised one of these tours. And he said, "I'm going to take you to Noah's grave, right? Noah and his wife's grave. I found it, right?
Okay.
And no one had ever found it, right? But he said, I've found it. A lot of people didn't believe him, right? But so he organised one of these tours. This whole group of people that believed in him, they all signed on, and they all went with him to Turkey, okay, to see Noah's grave, all right? Now, he said there was one, said they were all, a lot of them were strangers. He put notice up, two are going to Turkey, you know what I mean? See Noah's grave. And he said there was one bloke amongst them that was asking him all these questions and everything, right? Anyway, so they got to Turkey.
Yeah.
And he showed them this bit and that bit, but it was getting toward late in the afternoon. And he said to them, it's too late to take you to Noah's grave this afternoon. We'll go first thing tomorrow morning,
okay.
Right? Because we're losing the light, and we're going to, so they were all happy with that. It was late in the afternoon, right? Okay, but this is the story. This bloke who's asking all the questions, okay?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Back in America, was asking all these questions, right? When they all went back to camp in the afternoon.
Oh, I see.
All right.
Yep.
All of the group. They settled in their tents and everything. Okay, waiting to go and see Noah's grave the next day. This fucker went and found a couple of the locals. All right, and said, "Do you know where this site is that he's talking about?" And they said, "Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. We know where it is." They always knew where it was. They've been living there for thousands of years. They knew where it was, but they hadn't touched it.
Right, and he stole something.
Yeah, so he said, well, can you take me there now? Here's some money. He quietly just slipped out of the camp, okay? He went to the site, dug it up, right? And apparently, he dug up his wife's grave, and apparently she had all his jewellery.
Oh my goodness.
Rubies, diamonds, everything, okay?
He got rich in the process.
He took all the jewellery, all right? He took all the jewellery, all right?
Yeah.
And fucked off. Right? Just bolted. And the next day, when they came to the gravesite, they saw what had happened, right? This guy had bolted. Anyway, a little while after that, there were these reports of all this jewellery being dumped on the black market. All this ancient jewellery being dumped on the black market. It sort of followed it through. And it looked like that really did happen. Sounds like that really did happen, right? But isn't it amazing that it could still be there? And know who all the people were supposed to have come from.
Yeah.
See, the thing about those Egyptians. So anyway, look. I'm going to play devil's advocate, all right? And I'm going into bat for the Egyptians. Just going to play devil's advocate in this.
Okay.
We've got the right to do that, right? Like I said, it's all on the table. It's all shiny and new. I've got nothing to be scared of, nothing to be afraid of. And it's my right to look at it.
Yep.
It's my birthright to look at it. Because I want to be free. And how do I do that? How do I get free?
By knowing the truth, that sets you free. Got it?
Right?
Yep.
So I want to get free. Okay?
Yep.
Obviously, a lot of people, they don't want to get free because they think they're already free. All right? Well, good on them. You know what I mean? Good on them. And there's a lot of them are a lot better people than me, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to get free. So I'm looking at it. And through the years, the people that wanted to look at it, they got shut down real quick. Real quick. Do not look at it. Okay? If you look at it, we will kill you. Alright? Do not look at it. You look at it like this. No other way. Any other way of looking at it? Death.
Yeah.
Slow, painful death. The slower the better for you, heretic. Right? You can't, not allowed to look at it any other way. But guess what? I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at
Heretic.
it. Right? Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm really looking at it.
This is the bone. Yeah, going right through the meat.
Because we have to know. We've got to get free. We've got to know the truth. We've got to know ourselves. We have to overcome. Right?
Yeah.
We've got to, but we have to know. So there's two things that we have to do.
Yeah.
We have to overcome and we have to know.
Yeah.
Right?
Good.
Those two things. Right? Because that then satisfies the tree of knowledge and the tree of life.
Tree of life.
That's both of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Satan couldn't touch
overcoming is the tree of life.
Yep.
And knowing
that's
is the tree of
overcoming.
knowledge.
Satan couldn't touch the
That's
tree
both
of life.
Of them. That's the two becoming one.
Yeah.
All right? That's the two becoming one. The tree of life and the tree of knowledge. That's the two becoming one. Okay?
Amen.
That's nice. Yeah, one way of looking at it. So, it's kind of like, these people love to get on YouTube and tell them that God just told them this and God just told them that. And, they love it, you know what I mean? And, but quietly here in this room, it kind of feels fresh, right? Because anyway.
Well, it's motivating. It's motivating. That sort of opening, that awareness, motivates you.
See, I've been aware.
Desire
I've been
to
aware
overcome.
of the Templars and the Cathars and that for a lot, and the Egyptians for a long time.
Yeah, you have.
I wrote a book on it in the pyramids.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I can tell you lots about the Templars and the Gnostics and the Cathars and lots about what happened in history and everything. Okay, it's not just I didn't just see a YouTube, and it's not like that. It's helped me.
I know.
Put together a lot of stuff. Okay,
yeah,
a lot of stuff. I'm going to go back to the Egyptians here at the moment. It's really that thread about Moses taken off with the ark, and that's why Pharaoh chased him. That's a really interesting thread. But look, see, it's this. See, the Sumerians and the Egyptians, I just thought of something else too as I was thinking that. See, the Sumerians and the Egyptians, they had something up and running, right?
Yeah.
They had a world reality in place, fully in place.
Yeah.
Language, alphabet, you can consider hieroglyphs an alphabet.
Yep.
Trade, construction, naval fleets,
electricity,
history, electricity,
surgery,
flying machines for reports of stuff. We know you cannot deny that things were going on before Abraham, right?
Yeah.
You can't deny that. No one can deny that.
Yep.
Because we know it was.
Yep.
Right?
Water canals, irrigation, everything.
Yeah. Now, for some reason, this was the Sumerians and the Egyptians, right? Now,
were they friends or were they enemies? Sumerian and Egypt, or they're different counts in history?
Well, they were both two main powers.
Yeah.
The Sumerians were in Mesopotamia, so Iraq, that area, around Babylon, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Babylon.
Where the Garden of Eden was, they were in there. Whereas the Egyptians were down, to the south.
Okay.
Okay. Were to the west and to the south, whereas on the other side you had Iraq and everything. Okay, and you got the Red Sea, and then you got Egypt down here. So you had Egypt down here, you had the Sumerians here. You also had the Akkadians in the middle of them. Right, so and there were more too. There was the Hittites, there was the Urartus, there was there was a lot.
Who built those big giant doors for the giants to enter? In Iraq, they got those big giant monuments. It's like a big, huge door, 50-foot tall door. Who would enter that?
Yeah.
They knew all about it.
Now, the way the Bible deals with that is that it was all pre-flood, fallen angel, giants, all that sort of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that the facts on the ground, what's on the table, right? Now, this is a good chat, isn't it?
Oh, deep.
Because we both learn.
It's very educational.
We're humble. We're not pretending that we know something. We're trying to know, to get free. And the universe knows that, right? There's no ego in any of this. less than zero ego in any of this. This is an attempt by two created beings to get to know the truth so they can be free. All right? Okay? In a fallen world. Okay? So, we know then that it was going on. So, all right, we had the Sumerians and the Egyptians were the two main players in that region, okay, at the time, all right, before Abraham was. Now, that was all going on. All that stuff was all going on. Now, for some reason, God tells Abraham to come out of the Sumerians, because he was there, Ur of the Chaldees.
Oh,
okay, that's in Samaria. Okay,
yep,
around Babylon area. Come out of there. All right. He calls Abraham out of Samaria, the whole Sumerian thing, which was all up and running in alphabet, cuneiforms, had Hammurabi, had lawyers. Okay, had laws. Okay, Hammurabi wrote laws. So it had a societal structure, trade routes and everything, banking laws of commerce and laws of, trade and balance, this for this and that, okay?
Wow.
So it was rolling along. There was a society rolling along, and they did things a certain way, and they'd been doing it for a long time, right? And it hadn't just happened overnight, right?
So Socrates was like a copy of it. Socrates, that came later, the Greek. Socrates?
Yeah, this is all well before that. Well before the Greeks.
Before.
Way before the Greeks.
Yeah, the wisdoms were already there.
Yeah, Plato used to talk about Atlantis, but that was, like a long time before that.
Yeah, probably around the Sumerian time.
That's what I'm saying. Thousands of years before Abraham, civilizations were flourishing on the earth. These two main ones, the Sumerians and the Egyptians. And we know they were doing it, okay? And they had a whole empire and society. So there was society was starting off in a certain way. And they had a certain approach and a certain mindset to life.
Yep.
All right? Now, and it seemed to be working. All right? And it was growing. All right? And they were doing stuff. Now, for some reason, God says no to the Sumerian way of life and no to the Egyptian way of life. Right? Said no to that and no to that. I'm going to do something completely different. Forget about all of that.
Wow.
Now, why? Why was it so bad? What was so bad?
All that technology.
When with all that technology and literature and, like I said, and medicine and all, they were doing, see, this is, see.
Yeah, good. I'm waiting for the answer.
They were doing a lot in medicine and science, technology, okay? They had fucking doctors and scientists. Okay?
Yeah.
What was so bad about all of that God decided that he had to shut all that down and do something completely different, right?
Okay.
What was it? You know what I mean? So we have to sort out. We've got to sort that out. You know what I mean?
All tree of knowledge,
sort
but
that out
not the tree of life. I don't know.
The stories that ended up in the Bible are in all those groups.
Yeah.
A mix of all of those groups. You know, before Jesus, there were 17 recorded accounts of a Messiah being born of a virgin.
I thought it was 12.
17.
17?
No, gone into the earth for 3 days and then risen again. 17 at least.
I know, that's why my son turned against Jesus, because he said it's already been and
All
gone.
it means is that we need to understand we can't afford to talk to people who think they know, because they'll never understand because they think they know. So they're never going to get there.
17 accounts.
They're not going to get free until the end, you know what I mean? And that's when they're probably going to get the books, and did they open up to virtue, you know, right? Yeah. But I don't want to wait for that. I want to know.
Well, that's one of the rewards of knowing.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and they are not going to help me get free. No. That's why I don't go to church, you know, because it's just kind of like letting the
kindergarten.
Dead bury the dead.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just...
I'm not judging them, you know what I mean? But they've got nothing for me.
Yeah.
It just drains me because they've got these tiny little minds that focus
who's
on
doing
something
better
they
than,
think they know.
Yeah, who's doing better than who, and who's...
and this means this because it says this, and it can't mean anything else.
Yeah.
It's got to mean that. And, and you're going to go to hell if you think that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't even think that. Don't even talk about that.
It's locked in.
Just think this.
System.
I mean, it's very rigid. You've got to think like this. Right?
Formality.
It's not freedom. It's not freedom. Right? They've just got a whole pile of questions that they ignore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right.
And hoping that that's going to be enough. Well, good on them. And like I said, there are a lot better people than me doing that. Well, that's, you know, but that's not the point. As it stands, they've got nothing for me because they don't want to know. And like I said, they good on them. They're candlestick people, and you know they're going to heaven. But right now, they've got nothing for me. They don't even think they can get bitten by snakes. Even when it says you can get bitten by a snake, they don't believe that. Well, that's okay. You know what I mean? So they've got nothing for me. That, for them to say that to me, that's, what can I do with that? A candlestick person telling me that they've got no faith. Well,
snake bite.
What can I say to that? Well, you know, good luck. You know, I've got nothing to put into that. They've got nothing to feed me.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I went to church.
Just feeding me their lack of faith.
I went to church today, and it was all about Christian narcissism. Those who preach the gospel and no one listens, and they get narcissistic, they get angry and messed up because no one's listening to them. They get up, their ego gets in the road. And I thought that can happen. You know, no one's listening.
These ones we're talking about. But anyway.
But you don't care about that. No one's listening. You don't even care.
I'm trying to find the truth.
Yeah.
I want to know the truth.
Yeah.
What he meant by that, okay?
Yeah.
You got to know it. So, and faith is not enough. You know? You've got to know the truth. So,
and live the truth?
Right?
And live it?
It's got to be works.
Yeah.
It's got to be works. Without the works, it's dead.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got to be works.
I agree with that.
Huh?
Yeah.
There's a tree of knowledge and there's a tree of life.
Yeah.
There's got to be works.
Is there holy levels?
What there is you trying to show mercy, love, kindness, forgiveness, charity.
Yeah.
Whenever you can, at any moment of the day, for the whole, you know, have that in you, be accessing that realm of virtue every moment. Bring every thought under subjection. Pray continually. You know, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, you know, but who does that? But that's what, you know, that's what we're supposed to be doing, to bring every thought under subjection. Pray continually. In other words, continually access the realm of virtue and to show works of love, kindness, mercy, forgiveness. Right? The works. Yeah. Without the works,
and what's the
nothing.
That's right. And what's the fasting, abstaining, and everything? You know, everything, right down to substance. Where does that get you? Because it certainly messes my head up for weeks, months on end. I mean, I'm saying there is levels of moments of you really feel you're above it, and then you something. I don't know. It's not a judgment. It's just
what I understand about fasting, it's why you do it.
Why you do
If
it?
you're not doing it for the right reason, forget it. It's like anything. It's like praying in public.
Yes.
It's just not going to work.
That's
it's why you do it.
Why you're doing it. The why.
That's the magic ingredient, right? Because then if you're doing it for the right reason, the angels can be watching you and looking after you and, that sort of thing. It's why you're doing it. Right?
Good answer.
Yeah.
To get all holy.
I mean, look at all
that
those
be a good
Buddhists and Hindus that fast and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, what virtue are they showing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Straight away, my mistake. I fasted to get holy. Straight away, I failed. Holy. What is freaking holy? Some people claim to be holy.
You fast to be able to hear him.
Yeah.
That's why you fast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can hear him.
Yep.
So everything can go quiet. So you can hear him, what he's trying to say to you. That's why you would fast, right?
Yeah. Well, I went 5 days. I never heard a word,
Yeah,
but I didn't wait.
Why
I didn't wait.
Yeah. It's kind of. It's like sort of the.
It's a purpose.
It can't be a reason, you know what I mean? It's sort of. It's got to be a pure thing.
Yeah.
And a earnest thing. And, if you want to do it properly, it's got to be done for 21 days.
That's right.
So, you have to stay earnest for 21 days. And but in the meantime, we can be trying to have little random acts of kindness whenever we can.
In Christ.
Ways, and to forgive, to keep keeping that in mind, that that's what we're going to be doing. Where's the tobacco? Oh, there it is.
All there. That's enough. Yeah. Oh, mate. Wow. You should write
another one.
You should write an encyclopedia.
So the thing is,
have one more. Then go.
Yeah, I'll have one more, and then I'll get going after that. Okay, I'll make one more.
Mate, this is more. You learn more. I learn more from you than a university. They don't teach us at university.
Yeah, I'll have one more coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a good conversation.
Very. Well, that's why they call you Professor Zach.
No. Watching that video the other night really, it started certain wheels turning, and it's basically along these lines. That those two ways of life that we were told to reject, right?
Yeah, the Egyptian. The two.
Told to reject.
Yeah. The
Egyptian way of life and the Sumerian way of life.
Yeah, the start of history.
Do something completely different.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to think, well, what was that all about?
And
what were they doing that was so bad?
Yeah.
When we look back in the past and see how amazing they were, the buildings that they were building, the science that they had,
the archaeology, yeah.
Why wasn't that allowed?
And the other question is, what did Enoch do that was so right for the whole city to be taken up? He did something right, but the Egyptians did something wrong. He was so righteous he got taken up, a whole city of Enoch. I'm waiting for an answer, my brother. $1 million question. You come up with an answer. The $1 million question. I'm waiting for an answer.
The whole city.
Yeah, Enoch got taken up, the whole city. Remember Enoch?
The whole city didn't get taken up. He got taken up.
Oh, the whole city didn't get taken up?
Just him.
Oh, I thought the whole city of Enoch.
No, he went on a trip. No, and he saw all this.
I thought Enoch would return. The whole city would return to
No,
the
it
earth.
was just him.
Oh, I didn't
Being
know
taken
that.
here and there and seeing this and seeing that.
On a spaceship, it said.
It was all
Well, angels don't need spaceships.
It was him.
Okay.
So
That's in the
see,
Lost
this
Books.
has to be all before Noah, right?
Yeah,
All
before.
before the flood.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so we're meant to believe that that Sumerian civilization and the Egyptian civilization grew after the flood. Well, that's kind of like, that certainly does not work for a start, right? So,
Yeah. Right.
so one, okay, so all right. Well, I suppose you could say that the Sumerians and the Egyptians, their society was a pre-flood society, okay, and obviously it didn't all. A lot of them got buried. So that was a part of the world that was to be washed away.
Oh, I see. And what about the Tower of Babel? That come later? When did the Tower of Babel come? After Noah or before Noah?
Oh, before that.
Before that. Okay.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah,
All
'cause that
before.
was built by Nimrod. Okay. Tower of Babel. It was before
Babylon.
the flood.
Babylon? Yeah.
Yeah, and then let me think. I'm trying to think what chronology. So, see what I mean? So, like, there's something wrong with
The chronological order?
no one was there today. So no one really knows, okay, because no one was there.
Yeah.
So for a start,
Yeah.
when this happened and when that, we've only got the clues and what we're going to work with.
Yeah.
But see, when Egypt keeps coming into it, because like Moses, right? He brought up in Egypt, okay. Joseph,
Yep.
went to Egypt.
Yep.
Got taken to Egypt for 14 years or something, right? Almost became Pharaoh. And then the story where Moses killed the guard and bolted out of Egypt.
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, that's when you think of how many kind of people were getting killed for all sorts of reasons back then, okay, it seems a little bit strange that there'd be such a fuss or a point made of of him killing one guard, especially when he was like almost second to Pharaoh, right? So, because life was pretty cheap back then, right?
Yeah.
A slave or whatever. But he bolted out of Egypt, for 40 years.
Yeah.
And later on came back to get the Hebrews. But maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's when he took the ark. And that's why he bolted. But anyway, look. See, I'm just playing devil's advocate for the Egyptians at the moment. Because the... and also, we know that Jesus was taken into Egypt, right? So... See, I'll cut a long story short. The Templars, they didn't just kind of protect Jerusalem. They didn't just. They went to Egypt, and they came back with an understanding of the Egyptian way of life that was, we were told, not to have anything to do with, okay? The one that was shut down. The Templars discovered some of that, the way they lived, everything, okay? The way they interacted with their thoughts and their life and everything, okay? Completely different from the West. They came back with some of that. Now, the Gnostics, there was a group of people called the Cathars, all right? Now, there was about 10,000 of them.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
They lived in France.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Right?
Yep.
Now, they kind of had they had a different way of living as well, all right?
Yeah, like Puritans.
And it was different to what was, what the Pope was saying. You have to live like this.
Yeah.
In other words, the Bible.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, those two groups, the Templars and the Cathars, they had something different than what the Pope was offering, right? Back in 1200 AD.
AD,
right?
it was
smack
AD.
in the middle of the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Had the Inquisition, it was all going on, okay, terror, heretics burned at the stake, right? I'm not going to have that joke. You had, they were going on. It was, anyway, in 1200 AD, the Pope killed all the Templars and the Cathars.
Really?
Yeah, just murdered them overnight, burnt them all at the stake.
Wow.
Just decided, no, not having that.
And a few witches on the way too.
But he wiped them all out.
Wow.
Okay? These two groups that had a different way of living than the Pope, and what we've ended up with today is basically what the Pope wanted us to have. All right.
And yet the Templars and the Illuminati control the religions of the world now. They are more powerful in a sense because they're all puppets. Yeah.
Underneath all that.
Revenge.
Underneath all that.
Mm.
There was something, it seems that there was something good that the Pope didn't want us to have. Some kind of understanding, some kind of knowledge.
Alchemy?
For us to get free.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Some kind of knowledge, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you cannot talk to a Christian about this.
No.
Because it's just only you and I can talk. Only certain people you can talk to about this, right? You've got to be open because the whole magic thing comes into it.
That's it. The alchemy.
They don't care.
Yeah, and the Pope didn't want us to have all this power to overcome or
all sorts of things.
Well, Moses' magic was more powerful than Egyptian magic. Even his snakes killed the Egyptian snakes.
See, the word chemistry comes from the word alchemy. Oh. The word alchemy comes from Kemet, which is a city in Egypt.
Oh,
right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So,
my goodness,
there was something going on that got shut down, right?
Does this relate to Solomon's temple? It doesn't say in the Bible, but how the demons helped build the temple and he summoned up demons and Solomon, because it's not in the Bible, but that's all part of.
There was a huge Egyptian influence in that period, Solomon. Like a huge Egyptian period influence. Right?
Christians deny this.
All these stories are all circling around that, and he had a ring and stuff,
summons.
But it was all, and so much Egyptian kind of influence.
Why would God need an Egyptian ring for Solomon? Because it's all Egyptian.
That's what I mean. So
it's weird.
So that's what I mean. It's all we've got to lay it out on the table.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And not pretend that we know, because we don't. All right? But it's wonderful to be looking at it with clear, fresh eyes, with no ego or guilt or judgment or shame or doubt or disbelief, anything. Just, what have we got here? It feels wonderful. It feels so fresh. You know what I mean? And so the two things that I have to do in my life is to look at these and get knowledge out of it and to show good works.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So when I walk out this door, I've got to show love, mercy, compassion within my heart. I've got to be accessing the virtues. Yeah. Right? Okay. Constantly. Right? Constantly. In the meantime, I look at all this and try to understand, right? So I can know.
So the Pope's basically dumb us down to what we've got today. So they know about it.
The first thing they did was kill the disciples, mate. The first thing they went after them,
This apostolic authority business, based upon the rock of Peter 300 years later in the canon. It was upon the rock of Jesus Christ, not bloody Peter.
And then they took it. Yeah. And then the whole Catholic platform allowed beasts like Rothschild and that to get up.
They're all part of it.
Bringing it, in this...
Rockefellers.
Within that system, because the database was already there, the tentacles, it's all been established by the Pope. There's lines of communication between empires and everything. So Rothschild just jumped in on the top of all that with the banking thing, and the Pope loved that, all about the money, follow the money, you know what I mean? They all got greased and let Rothschild sort of start exploiting the kind of like the Christian world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One minute
That's what we've got
one
today.
minute they're killing the Templars, the next minute they're working with the Catholic Church today. All of that mixed in today, all a part of the oneness of it all.
Yeah.
And a lot of these Templars, they don't even believe Jesus died on the cross and the bloodline is here today, and they protect it to the kill.
Who?
The bloodline. A lot of the Templars today don't believe Jesus died on the cross. He was taken down, and the bloodline is here today, and they protect it. It's called the Da Vinci Code. You know about that?
Well, see, that's certainly a thread. There's certainly a thread there. The Merovingian dynasty, there's no doubt that's a thread, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, nobody knows, and if they do, they keep it real quiet.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. That's why you got to be careful of people who think they know something. You can't work with
I
that.
think what's resonating with me is that they got so much power in the intellect, which is fallen condition, all this power, magi and everything, where God wants us to dismiss all of that on that level of the carnal beast. The Pope is a beast.
It would seem that
Spiritual warfare of Satan.
there's
It's a hard topic.
who was it's like we're on our way to developing our spiritual abilities and powers, and all of a sudden he said no.
I see.
You know? He said no, and the Pope said no. I mean, it's like...
Yeah. And yet
something's wrong.
And yet we're told
Something's
do we do more than Jesus and raise the dead, and it's not happening? How are we going to do all that? We don't have that type of faith or that type of alchemy, because to raise So obviously it's been stopped to a certain time, and then heaven's open and suddenly all these real miracles happen. Restoring limbs, everything.
So, what could be wrong is that they've cooked the story.
Cooked it. That means over.
The story that we've got today, they've cooked it up.
You mean which story? Which one?
The Bible, when they put it together at Council of Nicaea in 317, this is the entity that wiped out the Templars and the Cathars. It's the entity that put the Bible together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and God allowed it.
Right?
I see.
So the implication is that there's knowledge that we're supposed to have, but we're not getting it. And the conspiracy theory is that the elites have got it and use it, but we don't have it. All right?
Yeah.
That seems to be a kind of like a reasonably solid thread that at some point in our time, in our history, we all kind of knew that we were spiritual beings, and then all of a sudden that got shut down so that only a few could understand that and the rest not. I'm trying to understand it all, you know what I mean? Like,
prophecy, I guess, because, the Catholic Church is part of the prophecy. They cut all that out. The man of sin, the 666, the mother of whores, all part of ending this world through joining up with Rome and the Illuminati. They'll bring in all sorts of communists and even atheists, some Muslims, the rich ones, Russia, North Korea, all joining up, and all the secret handshake religions, all part of the system of what you call modern day Babylon.
You see, it's all hinging on these prophecies, right?
Yeah.
All hinges on the prophecies, because it says the testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so, but yeah, all I know is that I don't want to have, like, I just want to be open.
Yeah.
I want to understand, but I don't want to understand what they tell me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to know. And I know that
Amen,
they
brother.
don't know.
Amen.
I know that they don't know. Right?
Yeah. They don't know.
And that there's no denying that magic has been a part of our reality from day one. Okay, even just in the most literal, even in the Bible, it's like makes no, it's not shy about talking about magic. And the three wise men, they were called the Magi.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, the root is there.
Yeah.
So that aspect, and the Egyptians and the Sumerians, like especially the Egyptians, was really immersed in that, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So that's been in the background the whole time, okay? And it's always been there. But we've been told that it's a bad thing, all right?
Yeah.
And that we're not to have it.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why? Because if you look at it in the context that Sludge Boy's got the whole universe, right? Well, that would certainly explain why he doesn't want us to have the magic, and only his chosen ones, just his chosen ones.
Yeah.
Not the rest of us.
Yeah.
All we've got access to. This makes sense.
Okay.
Because, this makes sense. Yeah, all right. So just say, for instance, that there was no darkness, there was no Sludge Boy, and things were as they were supposed to be. And we would all be showing love and mercy, and we'd all be doing magic, right?
Yeah.
We'd be doing all of that. But because Sludge Boy has taken everything, okay, all that you and I have access to, if you're not one of his, all you've got access to is the virtues, not the magic.
Okay.
Just the virtues.
Yeah.
Right? Because the magic is reserved for his. He's kept, because magic is supposed to be available to all of us, right? Hypothetically, okay, we're all supposed to be doing magic, because there's hints are there that magic has been a big part of this reality, of this existence, right? Yeah. The evidence is there, right? And that magic is a part of this existence, but you can't talk to a Christian about magic. But we're not talking to a Christian, we're talking to each other.
Yeah. And
we're laying things out on the table, okay? And we're seeing magic has been a big part of life at certain times, all right? So we know it exists, and it exists today. But it's a bad thing, as we understand it, and it makes sense when you look at it in this context that, it's reserved for Sludge Boy's people, all right? And we don't get it. We don't know.
Is this including time travel, the time...
All that stuff. Maybe we're supposed to be doing all of that.
And they're doing it.
They're doing it, but not us, because we're not allowed to, because we're not his.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what we've got access to is the hidden stuff. the virtue, the love.
Yeah.
Okay?
The things,
love.
the salvation of all.
And one day we will have the love as well as all the magic and time travel and all that. But right now we don't get that.
Okay.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know? And that's why his ones get so much magic.
Yeah.
You know? So much magic. Do all sorts of things.
That would go to your head. Yeah.
Imagine if we're all
Superhero.
doing that and it was all okay to be doing that.
Yeah.
Why isn't it okay to be doing that? What's if we're supposed to be born? Is that if they're doing it, why can't we do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because we're not allowed to.
Not allowed to. Okay.
Yeah. Because to do that, you've got to sign off.
Allegiance with the with Sludge Boy, the devil. Yeah. They get their reward now.
They get the reward now. They're getting it now. That's the other thing that kicks in. They're getting their reward now.
And probably not repent because...
Well, they're getting their reward now.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
They're having they're having a great time. Yeah. And they're laughing and got no stress.
Do they know there's a hell waiting for them? Do they know that? They don't care? Or are they...
You see, it's like...
Gee.
It would be like, something's wrong. Something's terribly
Alistair,
wrong.
the head warlock, because he separated from the demon that possessed him. Yeah.
He would have been having a great time. All of a sudden, hang on, something's wrong.
There's no rank in hell. No, he thought he was going to get the rank. Yeah.
Hang on, no.
Movie, Ghost. Oh my gosh.
Not me. I was told I was promised.
Promised ranks and got nothing. Oh my goodness. That's scary. Yeah.
Because we know that
don't want it.
The fucking coffin thing is huge. We even know the presidents and the leaders of the world have one at the Bohemian Grove. We know that.
The what? The coffin thing?
The covenant. The groups.
Oh, the covenant.
Cloaks and the ceremony. We know that the leaders of the world do that.
The baby's blood.
In Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
Even without that. We know that they gather together and have a ceremony before a big owl. We know that.
That's screeching
and
owl.
And even though they say, oh yeah, well it's just us letting off a bit of steam, having a party, you know, it's a bit of fun, don't worry about it. They don't say it's not happening.
They call the owl the screeching owl representing Lilith, the mother of demons.
Yeah, they've got all their reasons, but they do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We know that they do it. Huh?
Wow.
We know that statue of Shiva is at CERN. They've got their, you know, they can say, yeah, destruction of ignorance. Yeah, right. Well, good on them.
What statue?
The statue of Shiva at CERN.
Yeah.
You know, the destroyer, the Indian statue of Shiva at CERN.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, look at that. Yeah. They say, well, it means the destruction of ignorance. Well, that's what they could be saying. But, you know, at the same time, it means something.
And the Statue of Liberty also represents something.
Yeah, well, see, it means something.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, it's like, what were we saying?
About the allegiance, not...
What's the thread there?
They got it all the power.
Oh, well, we're talking about, it's just like, the coven thing. We know that's big to this very day.
Yeah, and dark. Yeah.
Yeah. So so we know that there is some kind of power accessible, some kind. We know that but it's not for everybody. But there is. So why isn't it for everybody? You know, so
God's
we
children.
need to know things like that. You can't ask a Christian about why we can't do magic. He's got, he'll have one particular answer for you and that's it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help the conversation, you know?
Yeah. They're just trying to avoid going to hell, that's it.
They don't want to know, you know?
This is actually motivating. This is motivating. It makes you want to think about becoming an overcomer in some way.
Yeah,
There's no saying that we cannot. I mean, with all this knowledge, and if you did the 21-day fast, if you could do it, and with all this knowledge and get to the other end and become enlightened, like when you had your near-death experience and you were in hospital with that accident, you said for 6 weeks you were in hospital and your mum walked in and she saw all this light around you. What is wrong with that? I mean, why do we fear that? To become luminous, not the luminous of the Knight Templar, Lord Lucifer, luminous in Lord Christ, Jesus, Yeshua.
You know what's good about 21 days? It's not 40.
No, it's not.
I used to think, when I found out about the 21, I thought, 21, that's no worry, I could do that. But
do you know,
40, I used to think, I might not come back from that. But the 21, you can come back from that.
It took me when I did quit smoking for 3 months, it took me exactly 21 days before the torture stopped. And then I went 3 months, and exactly on the day after the 3 months I'd committed to, I started my channel. Just things like that. To me, that's
why we're hanging out. Must be.
Yeah.
Got to be a reason.
No, that's pretty. Well, mate, this is the absolute bone of knowledge that you could go to uni for 10 years and still not know some of this stuff.
Yuck. We could go there. Yuck. That's why I didn't go.
I know, and they're all blood.
Both know what happens there. They've just got no idea. Those people, they've created this world.
Yeah.
This world that we see, this hell. Yeah. They've created it, right?
Yeah.
So why would you want to go there?
Yeah, exactly. Might have taken us longer, but at least some wisdom's coming.
Kicking the Bible around.
Yeah, and they act in the drama school, and I'm the only one that didn't do it. And I had to leave. They didn't welcome me back.
So
yeah,
something.
You remember that?
And now here we are having this conversation, but it feels great. It feels
we could have been
fresh,
and we could have been rock stars when we had all the goods, but we just stopped.
Plenty of opportunities. You could have been you could have gone with Jackie Love and had a hit record.
Yeah, she's still writing.
And you and Jackie Love could have had hit records, say for instance.
Yeah.
Right? You've written a song. Back then it was all about the radio and everything. With your playing, with her singing, and she was already popular.
Yeah.
You could have just come up with a song, #1, bang. So the whole life would have been different, and then
Yeah. I don't regret it.
The potential.
I don't regret it. I'm more.
A door that could have slid.
I am more grateful that I met you. Both got the same name. Both had an angel encounter, a near-death experience. There's something going on. Definitely, we're going to be best friends hereafter. And I've had the dream already. I've seen you come out of that whatever it was, the forest thing, dark forest, and you were there. It's just something's going to happen before the end where this enlightenment will clear the slate. Something will happen because this sort of knowledge and still putting your faith in Jesus, mate. There's something. We're only a matter of a few years away. I think something will give, and there will be some magi. Something. When we had it right here, only in a small measure. Remember, the computer was closed, it was turned off. I was talking about Beyond the Light, and that popped up, Beyond the Light, written on the computer. It was asleep. And a few things happened.
I think I told you I did see reference to that a while ago. Beyond the Light.
Yeah. We were in the spirit, and nobody can die. I said to myself, if it's spies, good on them. They'll be enlightened and then I had that coma experience with the diabetes, and the phone rang 3 times. Twice it was an angel standing there, no reference, we're just an angel. And the third time, I said, I'm going to check this. What's going on? I was really sick. I was in and out of conscious, and I flicked back to see, and I saw a message, and the message says, "Behold, Daryl, I have a marvelous work and wonder for you to do." And it was like this, and I didn't read it, and I said, "Wait a minute," and I went back further to see where the phone number gone. Now, if that was a spy, wow, he would have been, that's a high level. And it got me out of that coma. I was going out to it. I ate all this chocolate. I had diabetic attack. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The fact is these little miracles are happening. And it's enough. It's enough. It just tells me, because there's no explanation to that. And then when I rebuked the Pope one night, I got an argument. And my little fan that was turned off, Daryl, and it levitated, not turned on, it flew in the air, it come crashing down on my computer and nearly chopped my hand off, and yet it was captured live on video. And even my son saw it. He said, "Dad, you should have been a magician." It really did happen. It's on video. I can't remember which one it was. And another time, I didn't see it till after it was made. There was this big witch's finger about to poke me in the eye. A black nail, it was a finger. And it was going to poke me in the eye, and it didn't come up until after it was made. I don't know. I made over 1,000 videos. I got to find it, put it in a collection. And my son said, "Oh, Dad, it was a big bloody ant blowing up in proportion, some type of insect. It was this long, as long as a cigar. So it just goes to show, yep, I know the Catholic Church is not true. I know that the Mormon Church is not true. I know the Jehovah's Witness Church is not true. I know the Protestantism is a breakaway. That's not true. I know that you and I are born of the Spirit. We're not perfect. We're not saints in that sense. Doesn't matter. It just means we don't know what's going to happen in the future yet.
No, but we know that love is the truth.
Yeah, the gospel of love.
That is the way.
Yeah.
That is the way. It's the continual seeking that virtue.
Yeah.
Because
the virtue.
That virtue does not automatically exist in the world.
No.
It's been taken out, right?
Yeah.
It's like the garden, been taken off the earth. It's another way of looking at it like that, okay?
Yep.
Like the light being poisoned. Well, the garden has been, it says it was taken off the earth.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And these people that they think they found the Garden of Eden, you know.
The Mormons say it's in the bloody middle of America.
Yeah. Like,
Noah's Ark and everything.
We found the garden.
Ended up in Turkey.
It was taken off the earth.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's stupid.
Something was, taken away.
Yeah.
So it's not obvious and it's not easy to get. So we've got to keep accessing it.
Yeah.
That's what we're to do. All right? That's
See,
where life is.
we are supposed to take off the robes of Adam and Eve and put on the lambskin, meaning stop knocking on the veil at the Mormons to get to heaven, become gods, eternal sex, own planets, populate them. Oh my God, polygamy. And they're stuck in creation. We're supposed to get out of creation, fall into a heap like the prodigal son, while the squeaky clean brother looked and said, "Oh, why is he being so blessed? I'm a perfect, like a Mormon. I'm a Levite. He's a Levite, priesthood, and everything." And his father said, "The prodigal son found the real Jesus." That's what you and I have done. So we're not cursed? We're just no one wants to know us because we're not part of the club.
And how about the prophets who used to live out in the desert in rags? They were the holy people. Right?
They were the holy people.
And they would go and talk to the people who were dressed up in nice clothes.
Oh, yeah.
But the people that God was pleased with, they lived out in the desert in rags.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Now, I believe something's going to happen in the future where, I'm not saying that, the two witnesses will come. I don't care. All I know is that some enlightenment, which you said, now you said this, enlightenment doesn't lead to wisdom so much because you got these gurus look down on, "Oh, he's a beggar on the street, I'm more enlightened than you." I love that quotation. But the wisdom could lead to enlightenment in Christ. So these wisdoms are leading to real enlightenment, and it's something that will happen before now until the end, that we will be enlightened and we'll be comfortable in the sense we don't have to fear. Well, you don't really fear, like I fear more than you, but just know that you are one of his. You're going home. His children, not one will be lost. So, because you'll get one or two brothers that will, they say, "Oh no, if you masturbate once you've been saved, you could never." And I checked it out. No, it's a one-off. If you make it a regular habit, as a cycle, all my cycles coming up, or it's me 3 days of stress, that means they say you're not truly converted. But if it's a one-off, just move on. Just get up, repent daily, and just move on. It can happen. It will happen to people that have that problem. Other people just get greedy. They get, either they're doing things like that, or they're thinking about money and ripping people off in the churches and so forth. So we do need those things you should overcome and just put up with the stress of it all. But then the magi could happen as a result.
Yes, there's something we know. The clues are there that there's something else.
Yeah.
Right? That we were told no.
Yeah.
There's more to life than this.
Yeah.
More.
Much more. We're like a matrix. What do you call this thing? A simulator.
Yeah,
stuck in a video game.
There.
Yeah.
The clues are there. But if we're looking at it through the understanding that Sludge Boy's taken the whole thing, then we have to be very kind of like careful, you know.
Yeah, because everything can be a deception, and
We've got to make sure that the little child is alive and well.
I'm glad you said that.
Go looking for this stuff.
Yeah, not the internet.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The little child has to be there, and that comes down to the reason, like depends on why we fast. The little child has to be the little child who's fasting, not the mind.
Amen.
You know what I mean? It's got to be the little child.
Now that's a wisdom right there. That's, yeah. Yeah.
Because he responds to the little child, the prayer of the little child. He responds to that. I know he does.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen.
But it's hard for us to find that because Sludge Boy has just made it so hard to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas we're supposed to be, that's how we're supposed to be living the whole time. And it says that one day that's how it's going to be. And he's actually going to come in and be our God. And we won't even need a sun because he'll be the light.
He'll be the light.
Right?
Yeah.
And we'll live with him. And it'll be like that. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, now you just put me in the, you can say, I'm not in a building, the temple. I just felt the inner sanctuary then of the temple. Like I felt the Spirit when you said that. You're testifying of the real Jesus.
We're just remembering how it's supposed to be. We're just, something in us is resonating with home. It's just, what we're talking about is just stirring it all
the
up.
Knowingness, not being a know-it-all, but a knower, like you mentioned. A knower.
But you can feel it all being stirred up. It's like...
It's a secret. It's all sacred. Yep. No secret handshake, nothing to get
We're homesick. We're so homesick. Yeah. And whenever we start to remember home, we get upset.
Yeah, give me a starship, going home. I like it when you say that. Yeah, right. Well, we're dead for a long time, but we're resurrected too. So this is it. But I like what you said. It's another topic, but about it's already been done. It's God already knows. He knows you, like he knew Jeremiah before he was born. He knows. He knows the ones that are his. So he'll make something happen that we will make any changes coming up. Yeah.
Funny, like you mentioned the word alchemy before I did, okay? And what the people that our science is built on, people like Newton and Da Vinci, okay, they spent most of their life trying to chase down alchemy, right? Those, the ones that we all refer to, and even Einstein, right? But especially Newton and Da Vinci, and that was like, that's what it was all about. But we didn't get that. Yeah. We got compound interest. We got banking laws and how to do trade and commerce and how to build weapons. And how to build ships. Yeah. We got that to have trade so someone could exploit them and get money. Because it's all about the money. We got that. We didn't get the alchemy. Right? So that must be like, so Sludge Boys flooded the world with people. And they're all just sucking off the black cloud,
And when Einstein was working on time travel, he came up with a discovery, and somebody says, "Oh, it's about time," like hurry up. Yeah, it's just a joke, but it was about time. Yeah, and it was about time. Yeah, but he never cracked it really. He kind of cracked it a little bit. String theory or something.
Yeah, he was just pre-quantum. Yeah. So it was just on the edge there. It was all spooky action at a distance. That's what he called it. He said it's spooky action at a distance, a quantum thing, an entanglement. He called it spooky action at a distance. That was because that was right at the time of Heisenberg doing the double slit and everything again.
Yep.
He was sort of at the end of, he'd already done relativity, got the Nobel Prize for electrons and everything.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like, and yeah, he kind of, it was moving on from him. The quantum thing was, he wasn't there. He was like, sort of, the quantum thing to Einstein was like Einstein to Newton. All right?
Oh.
So Einstein moved on from Newton. All right?
Who came first?
Newton.
Newton, then Einstein.
Okay.
Yep.
So when Einstein came along, there would have been a lot of people into Newton who were kind of like, wouldn't have understood Einstein, okay?
Yeah.
But all the new people did, because it made sense, because they could see it all, right?
Yeah, extension.
But people that just had Newton, so Einstein came along with relativity. And when quantum came along, that's like all the people into Einstein, including Einstein himself, kind of got left behind from that. Like all the Newton people got left behind when Einstein came along. Well, all the Einstein people sort of got left behind when the quantum thing came along.
That's it.
You know, it's a bit like that's how it moved on such a dramatic change. You know what I mean?
I also liked your explanation on we're living in forever now, right?
Yeah.
So the past, the present, the future happening at the same time. That's metaphysics. Can you explain that? Because I love to hear your version. I try to lock it in what I believe. The past, the present, and the future is happening at the same time. What does that mean to you?
The only reason we think they're separate is because we have this concept of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a very linear concept.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily like that, because as I said,
Stretch through space and time.
if they reckon that the universe is finite, they've got a certain, there was a period with the Big Bang, even though they're thinking about that now, but, it's like
Yeah.
they're implying that there was a time when we didn't have the universe, didn't have the stars and everything. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Well, what was going on then? Was there time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we've just started calling it time.
And God knew us
Because-
before we were even born.
What is time? Well, what do you need for time? What's the one thing you need for time?
Time.
Yeah, but
Oh.
you need something for that.
Event.
Eh?
Event. Some event.
Yeah, you need a particular event.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
No.
Movement.
Movement. Duration.
As soon as you've got a little bit of spin on the very first particle, all the numbers fit into that bit of spin. Time, displacement, speed, velocity, acceleration. It all fits into that spin.
Wow.
All of it. As soon as there's a little bit of movement, right?
Yep.
All the numbers fit in there. Everything. Right? Like I said, distance, time, everything fits into a tiny little bit of movement.
You're going to invent a time machine.
Right?
Yeah, righto. Yeah. Wow.
You with me?
Yeah.
So it's kind of what I'm saying is time is kind of like arbitrary. It's like, okay, we call that a cup.
Yeah.
In China they call it a flang fang. In Arabia they call it a huduba or whatever, you know what I mean? So time is just something that we've called something that we want to label it.
Yeah.
We need to label it somehow. I need to label that somehow. I'll call it a cup, and you know what I'm talking about. It can be called anything, right? Time is a bit like that. Dimensions, they're just words that we use.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay.
Words that we use. Because that's all we're allowed to have, because the real knowledge of things got shut down, right? There is another level of understanding apart from labels, right? But we're not allowed to have that. All right? There is a level of understanding that beyond the words, telepathy and all that sort of stuff, everything.
Yep.
But it's not for us.
Yeah.
It's like, but only for some.
And they'll basically deny the blood of Jesus and call it dark and evil to get all that magi.
It's got to be
witches.
It's got to be spiritual. It's got to be spiritual. And you look at it all.
You remember that dream I had for 3 weeks? This is supernatural. I testify to the world of this. 3 weeks, give or take a day or two. I dreamt I was a civil soldier in the cavalry. And I had a family. I got up, medals on, I ran a table. Yeah. 3 weeks I dreamt this off and on, and then I went out in the battle and got killed every day. And my interpretation of that is that I had the memories of that soldier. I don't believe in reincarnation, but this is sort of an incarnation. It means, is there such thing as a spirit guide? This is a little bit Gnostic now. Was I sort of was I there? How did I remember all of that, and why did I remember all of that experience?
Yeah, well, something in you obviously needed to see that.
It's like a movie, yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to support reincarnation.
No, not reincarnation. Like I was an intelligence.
Yeah. Okay, so you're creating that. Yeah, well, obviously there's something in you that needed to see something in
which
there.
Means we could have seen Jesus on the cross before we even born. We're all witnessed it. Like we know, like everything happened already. You know how you say it already has been done.
Yeah, well, that's what it actually says.
Yeah.
Was crucified.
So how dare anyone come up and say, "Oh, you would be one to crucify Jesus because you're having a smoke"? What a dumbass thing to say.
So
you were there.
There's something wrong with their story, their take on it, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it.
Amen.
Okay, and that's it. The Lamb was slain from before the foundation of the world. So straight away, there you go. It just, just puts the whole kind of mysterious.
Daryl, do you remember Black Sabbath and the Castles? True story. They were rehearsing in the band Black Sabbath, and this horseman ghost. 2 horsemen come in, a black horse, a white horse, and they're sword fighting each other in the castle. They freaked. Because they were all into the occult anyway. It was some type of past event that was showing up in the future, like it was happening either then or in the past. You remember that story?
One thing I know is that those people, they think that the magic circle is a bit of fun. I know that. They do. Okay. They think it's fun, right? They think it's fun. Look, we know that stuff. I just want to tell myself and keep committing myself that the only thing I want out of this life is to access that realm of virtue, love, mercy, forgiveness. That's what I want. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, amen.
Right? I don't want anything else.
A dignified death, not
I just want to access that. And there's supposed to be life in that.
Yeah. Real
life. Yeah. They're all the clues. I will give you the water of life. Okay, would I give you a stone? You know what I mean? It's like, there's supposed to be life in that where you and I are not having. Not many people are. Okay? There's supposed to be life in that. And more life than what you and I are having. And I want to get it before I die. You know what I mean? If it's there, I want to get it. How do you get it? Not by listening to them. They haven't got it.
No.
Why would you listen to them? They've just got stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They haven't gone looking for it. Good on look. It's not a judgment, okay?
No,
just about myself. And I know that I'm not there.
Yeah.
But I want to get there.
Yeah.
Right? And we've got to find out how to get there.
Like you said, the why. Why do we do this?
We have to know the truth.
What's the purpose? Yeah.
We've got to know the truth. There's something that we need to know, and I'm going to get going.
Thank you, my friend. Well done. Thanks, Daryl.
Yeah, man.
Well, man, that's an encyclopedia of knowledge. Bless you, my brother. Don't be like the Catholic. Bless you, my son. No. Who does he? What does he know? Thank you. Wow.